Nalak is known by many to be the best tuner in Forza Horizon 5 with almost 2 million tune downloads, but are his tuning setups really that good? That's what we're about to find out. Here's how. At first, we run the tunes on the track to set base times. We will be using fastest lap, average lap time, and some of the best splits as our metrics. Second, we install the same parts and upgrades as the original tunes and apply our own tuning settings to see if we can improve the tune without changing any parts. Third, we completely change the build while only keeping the same purpose and car class as the original tunes. We compare all the results in the end and give those tunes a score out of 5. I asked multiple other drivers to perform the same tests so we can get more accurate results. This should also tell us if different driving styles or skill levels have an effect on the tune. Here's the track we will be testing the tunes on. It looks similar to one of the default Forza tracks, with a few corners added in. It has a good balance of straights and different types of corners. Time set on this track will tell us how good a car will perform for general road racing. We'll be testing 4 different tunes from Nalak in this video. Let's begin. First, we'll be looking at this S1 class road tune for the Ford GT, which is his most downloaded race tune. It features 840 horsepower and weighs around 1200 kilos, which is really good for S1 class. In fact, this was the best overall all-wheel drive car for S1 Road before the Hot Wheels update, and it managed to set really fast times around the track. But as fast as this car is, it wasn't really pleasant to drive. Most people found it to be understeery. The brakes would also lock up frequently for non-ABS users. The gearing was also a bit too long for most people, especially the 6th gear, so we should be able to easily improve this tune by using different settings, right? This tune features stock non-adjustable springs, which limits its tuning potential. Regardless, most people manage to improve their time using their own settings. The difference is small for the drivers on the top, and as we go down, improvements get bigger and bigger, so it's safe to say that this tune was intended for more skilled players. On average, the improvement is around 0.6 seconds in the fastest lap, but it's less than half that amount if we only include the top 50% of drivers. Anyway, it was time to change the parts and see if we can make the tune even better. The original tune features a racing V12 engine swap, but we can swap in a V10 to get more power, and that's what most people did. This engine is heavier and has a non-linear power delivery, which can make the car even more unpleasant to drive. To counter this, some people went for race brakes or race suspension. We ran our new builds around the track and here are the results. Most people managed to make small but notable improvements compared to their previous tunes. In the end, most people didn't think if the original tune was bad, but it definitely had room for improvement, and it managed to achieve an average score of 3.8 out of 5. Now, it's time to look at this S1 class road tune for the Nissan R35, which is Nalak's 3rd most downloaded race tune. It features around 800 horsepower and weighs around 1400 kilos, which is below average for S1 class. So we should expect this car to have good handling, right? No. Thanks to Forza's PI system, this car is below average in almost every way. And to make it worse, this tune is a purist build, which means it doesn't feature any aerodynamics. On top of that, it also features semi-slick tires. This resulted in a painful driving experience for almost everyone. This car was an unstable boat. It would either understeer or slide all over the place. The high-speed handling was non-existent and the 2nd gear was way too long. This resulted in the best time being over 3 seconds slower than the Ford GT. But is there a way to fix this tune without changing the parts? Let's see. Most people fixed the gearing and used stiffer suspension settings. The car didn't feel much better with different settings, but lap time wise, everyone managed to improve without any exception. On average, we see around 1 second of improvement across all 3 metrics, which is huge. Needless to say, the original tune wasn't really good, and even Nalak admitted it. Anyway, now it's time to change the parts and see if we can improve any further. Using Forza Aero would obviously make the car much better, so we didn't do that. Instead, everyone opted for full slick tires instead of semi-slicks. This lowers the horsepower by around 50. A few people also installed race brakes. These upgrades made the car handle a bit better and resulted in an even bigger improvement in lap times. Averaging all 3 metrics results in a 1.8 seconds improvement in times. In the end, many people were disappointed by the original tune, which resulted in an average score of 2 out of 5. But things will get better from here. The next tune is an A-class build for the Ferrari 512, featuring rally tyres, 530 horsepower and weighing around 1400 kilos, which is pretty balanced for a purist build. It was a bit slidey and lacked deceleration for some people, but overall it felt solid. and most people were satisfied with this tune. The times were also pretty good around the track, but is there any room for improvement? There are only 3 settings you can change on this build: tire pressure, anti-roll bars, and differential. So there wasn't much tuning potential, but you could still adjust how much oversteer or stability you want by changing the anti-roll bars. On average, this resulted in 0.3 of improvement in fastest lap time. The average lap time was improved a bit more since most people went for more stability. Now, it was time to change the upgrades. On this car, you can go for wider rear tires and race suspension in exchange for 30 less horsepower. For me, the loss of power wasn't worth it, but the same couldn't be said for everyone else. Fastest and average lap time were improved by almost a second on average. It was clear that the majority preferred more grip and tunability over power, but were totally fine with using the original tune, which managed to achieve an average score of 4 out of 5. The next tune is a B-class build for the Ferrari 250 GT, featuring vintage race tyres, 300 horsepower and almost 900 kilos. This tune was another balanced purist build, and the opinions were mixed on this one. While it felt mostly fine for some, it was too oversteery and unstable for others. The lack of deceleration was also present, just like the previous car. These are the times we managed to set on the track, which is average compared to other purist builds. Now for tuning, most people went with more stability and deceleration, which was similar to adjustments made to the previous car. The improvements, however, were similar to the Ford GT. Faster drivers managed to improve by only a few attempts, while others improved by well over a second. As for the upgrade changes, you can downgrade to street tyres in exchange for more power. While this makes the car harder to drive, it should also make it faster on most Horizon tracks. Some people also went with upgraded brakes and transmission. In the end, everyone managed to improve their times using their new builds, some more than others. The original tune was really good for the build it was on, and only needed a few tweaks to make it perfect for most drivers. The average rating for this tune is 4.4 out of 5. And that is everything. Let me know which tunes we should try out next, and if you want to participate in these tests, you can do so by joining the Discord server linked in the description. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.